This is one of the best business books I've ever read, and it's genuinely changed the way I think about business. Hi, I'm Penny, and welcome to the first episode of The Library, where I'll be summarizing my absolute favorite nonfiction books. Today we are looking at Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. This book goes into detail about a fantastic story framework that you can use for your business. But Donald actually starts off the book by talking about the two critical mistakes that brands make. And this ties into a lot of the stuff that he talks about later in the book. So the first mistake that brands make is that they fail to focus on the aspects of their offer that help people thrive and survive. The second mistake is that they cause customers to burn too many calories in an effort to understand their offer. So we'll start with number one. You should be positioning your products as an aid that helps people thrive and survive, or be accepted, find love, or achieve an aspirational identity. But think about it. Humans are wired for survival. Whether it's physical survival like food and shelter, or emotional survival like belonging and status and success, we make decisions based on what will improve our lives. So if your brand isn't clearly showing people how they can achieve these things, it's likely they aren't going to be interested. So for example, if you're selling a productivity app, you're not just selling task management software. You're selling less stress, peace of mind, and the ability to spend more time with the people that you love, because that's what people truly care about. The second mistake is if you confuse, then you lose. The brain naturally avoids spending extra energy. If your message is unclear or too complex, people won't spend time trying to figure it out. They'll just move on. This is why simple and direct messaging works the best. Confusion kills engagement. The easier it is for people to understand how you can help them, the more likely they are to buy. So now moving on to the story brand framework. The first step of this is that the customer is the hero. I think this is so important to realize. The customer is the hero of the story, not your business and not your products. A lot of businesses get this wrong. They talk about why they're the best. But here's the truth. People don't care about your business. They care about themselves. They're looking for a solution to their problem, and they want to be the main character of their journey. A great comparison that Miller made in the book is that your customer is Luke Skywalker and you are Yoda. You're their guide. You are there to give them the tools that they need to help them succeed. So if you want to follow this step while avoiding the two critical mistakes that Donald Miller talks about earlier in the book, then you should come up with a one-liner that explains what your business does in a super simple way. This can be something that you put at the front of your website that the customer sees immediately. One of the examples that was put in the book is if your business is about financial planning, your one-liner could be a plan for your retirement. This really works because it shows people how they can survive when they retire. It's super simple, super clear, and it positions the customer as the hero of the line. It's focusing on them. It's not saying we create retirement plans for people. So the second step of the SB7 framework is that the customer or the hero has a problem. Most, if not all, great stories starts with a hero who wants something, and they can't get it because something is standing in their way. If there's no problem, there's no story. So if you don't address what the customer is struggling with, they won't have a reason to use your brand. They need to see the problem to then have a reason to address that problem. So find out the villain of your customer's story. Donald Miller breaks down customers' problems onto 3 levels. So there's external, internal, and philosophical. So let's say for my YouTube channel, the villain is working a 9-to-5 that you hate for the rest of your life. So I'm helping you work for your dreams, not someone else's. So the external problem for you is the obvious surface level issue, such as I need help making money working for myself. The internal problem is basically how the external problem makes them feel. So you're confused about how to work for yourself and how to make money working for yourself. And the philosophical problem is the bigger, almost moral reason for why it's unfair for them to have this problem. So that would be, I shouldn't have to waste my life working for someone else's dreams. Most businesses focus only on the external problem, but you also need to think about the internal and philosophical problem. I'd highly recommend pausing this video and writing down the problems that your customers have. The third step is that your customer meets a guide. Guess what? The hero of the story needs someone to help them with their problem, and that is you. You are the guide. To position yourself as the guide who helps the hero overcome obstacles and achieve their goals, you need to have these two characteristics: empathy and authority. So empathy is about making your audience feel seen and understood. A simple way to do this is by acknowledging their struggles. For example, if you help businesses grow on YouTube, you might say, "We know how frustrating it feels to put hours of work into a video and not see any results. It can feel like you're wasting precious time." When you say something like this, the audience thinks, "Oh, yes, that's exactly how I feel," and they trust you more because of it. In the book, it gives a couple of examples of what empathetic statements might start with, such as "we understand how it feels to," or "no one should have to experience," or "like you, we are frustrated by." You're showing the other person that you understand what they're going through. Now for authority. People won't follow a guide who they don't think is credible. There's a lot of ways that you can show your authority. For example, if you have a website, you can put that you've achieved these awards, or you can put up testimonials from customers who had a good experience. You might have some statistics of how you've helped people in the past, or some logos of other businesses that you've helped. Once your audience sees you as a trustworthy guide, they'll be ready for the next step, which is a clear plan to follow. So your audience sees you as a guide, so now you need to give them a plan. Without a plan, your audience might be interested, but they might still not purchase the product because they don't know what to do after they purchase the product. If you're confused, then you lose. The plan should be simple and easy to follow. Donald Miller suggests using either a process plan or an agreement plan. So a process plan describes the steps that a customer needs to take before you purchase the product or after they purchase the product. Or you can combine both of them. For an example, number 1, schedule an appointment. Number 2, allow us to create a customized plan. And number 3, let's execute the plan together. And when you lay it out like that, there's no room for confusion for the customer. They know exactly what's going to happen when they buy the product. An agreement plan helps the customer's internal fear that the product might not turn out like they want. At the moment, I'm trying out a couple of different types of martial arts, and most places I've noticed offer a free trial. You're allowed to go without paying any money and try it out, and you don't have to worry if that martial art isn't right for you. Or it could also be like a refund guarantee or something like that. So spend some time trying to ease your customers' fears and help them with the buying process. The 5th step is a call to action. Heroes have to actually make the choice to take action. The problem, most businesses aren't clear enough about what that next step is. If you don't actually directly tell people what to do, they won't do it. So Miller talks a bit about the power of a buy now button. If you have a buy now button in the top corner of your website, then as soon as the customer wants to purchase the product, they don't have to go scrolling to try and find out where they can. And there's 2 types of calls to action that he breaks down in the book. First is a direct call to action, so it's telling them exactly what they need to do. So this includes the buy now button. It could say schedule a call or make an appointment or download the guide. This is your main call to action and you should make it really obvious. It's the one you'll probably repeat the most. So my direct call to action to you guys is to subscribe. Next up is a transitional call to action. So it's a bit of a lower step up for people who aren't quite ready to buy the product yet. So this could include get a free sample, or watch our free video, or download our free PDF. That way you can warm up the customer a bit so they know what to expect for your actual product. The second to last step is that helps them avoid failure. So remind your customer what's at stake. What is there to lose if the hero doesn't buy your product? A fun example that Miller put in this book that I think about all the time now is that people are more dissatisfied by a loss than they are satisfied by a gain. So if a person loses $100, they'll be much more dissatisfied than they are satisfied if they gain $100. The negative one makes a much bigger impact in your brain than the positive one. So what are you helping your customers avoid? So my YouTube channel is helping customers avoid working a 9-to-5 that they hate for the rest of their life, being financially unstable, and regret about not achieving their dreams later in life. By making the stakes clear, you give them a reason to take action now, not later. Which leads us to the 7th and final step, which is and ends in success. What this is telling us is that you need to give people a vision of what their life will look like if they use your brand. A clear aspirational vision of success that your hero actually wants for themselves. So make this end vision as clear and specific as possible. People need to see themselves in the success story before they're willing to commit. By clearly showing them what's possible, you make the decision exciting. A gym's success vision may be love the way you look and feel. Most people want to love the way they look and feel, and through that they're easily able to imagine what their life will be like when they love the way that they look. So what will the the hero's life look like after they work with you? How will they feel? What problems of theirs will be solved? So to recap, the customer is the hero, not your brand. Identify the problem that your customer has, become the guide for the customer, give them a clear plan, call them to action, then help them avoid failure and give them a success vision. In the last few chapters of this book, Donald also goes into a lot of detail about how you can improve your website based on these principles and how to create email lists to gain customers. I'm not going to dive into that today as the main focus was the StoryBrand framework, but I would highly recommend getting this book and giving it a proper read through. I've linked it below. It's definitely worth getting the full value out of. If you liked this video, then make sure to subscribe for more library episodes coming soon. Good luck on your entrepreneur journey, and I will see you next week.